something on my blog called What's on Your Plate Today? And I said, without explanation, just show me what you're doing. So sometimes people would actually cut and paste their script or show their artwork or whatever. And that same kind of environment was basically, I had virtual office mates by doing that. And then started discussing for almost a year, I want to say, about some of us getting a studio together, a live studio.
There was a lot of people thinking about it for a while. I mean, we had, and
mostly from
thinking about
Activate.
bigger space.
Mostly the folks from Activate would say,
Yeah.
who was willing to pony up like 150 to 200 bucks a month, and get a corner in a room, and figure out how to work with each other and do this. I've been working by myself for 5 years basically at my house, and it got to the point where I would get out of bed, I would go on a chair and put on one shoe in my underwear and then make coffee and go back to my art table and say, what
There's
am I
the
doing?
visual, isn't there?
Because I think I
You
still
switch
had
out
that,
shoes every other day?
well, I still think I had that idea of like, oh, I'm going to work now, so I'm going to put something on, and I'd never left the house, so I didn't know why I had a shoe on, So then I realized I need to have a studio. I need to go away from my house, from my apartment.
Here we sort of get together, we keep tabs. Somebody's slacking off, you sort of tease them a little bit, and that's, it's.
And we spend a lot less time writing emails to each other.
Except for those of us who have computers here, who sometimes email each other
While they're in the same
while
room.
they're in the same room. Yeah.
I email myself often.
Yeah.
Actually. But we still vogue online, like via our blogs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think that's still important.
It's
to have
more
that.
impenetrable now because nobody actually understands what we're talking about.
Well, I think that there's certain things that artists do that are inherent to what they can draw without reference. And I think people who come from the country know how to draw a tree really well. Someone who rears a horse, will draw them really well. I don't care how much reference you give me, I can't draw a horse. Maybe one day, I'll really get good at it. And I don't drive a car. I actually just got my learner's permit at age 40.
Nice.
And I can't draw a goddamn car unless I'm, looking at reference. So I think how does New York influence my art is that I inherently know how to draw buildings, bricks, detritus, streets, signs, bums. I think New York is ingrained in my blood and soul in that I can easily draw New York City without really having to look it up. It's all in here. This is my little spot. I'm next to a window, and we are under a train station, which I think is really cool, actually,
That's a
when I
great
look out
shot.
that window. And I'm currently drawing a graphic novel called The Alcoholic, written by Jonathan Ames. He's a local Brooklyn author and a good pal of mine. And this is his first graphic novel. It's a memoir, and so he's writing what he knows about alcoholism. And I've been doing some reference. Ergo. So I've been working on this book, and I've been inking about 2 or 3 pages a day when I do the inking batches. I complete 10 pages in a row at a time. So I'll do 10 pages of layouts in this little book that Leland Purvis actually created for me. He before he went full-time freelance, he worked at a Kinko's, and he knew that I do my thumbnails about this size, and as a gift, created this amazing book.
That's awesome.
Blank pages, and there are about 100 pages in here worth, where he just sized it to a way I can just walk around and take the script with me and be able to start doing layouts. So I've got like the whole book in here as I chip away, and I'm doing them at 10-page clips. So these probably correspond with some of the pages here that I'm showing you. And for instance, let's see, this one right here would be, this page. This was my original idea, solution for telling this scene, and then of course I penciled it and have now inked it, and now it needs to be finished, and then I hand it off to DC Comics to letter it, and it's also going to be gray toned, like how The Quitter was. I also have done a comic at Activate called Immortal, which is kind of a revamp, a relaunch of a character I created in 1995 called Billy Dogma. Billy Dogma is, for all intents and purposes, the last romantic anti-hero. And he is a character, kind of an umbrella character for all my favorite genres, or my favorite parts of genres, including romance, noir, a little bit of science fiction and superhero. and he's really hyperbolic, but that's like what I love about comics. There are a lot of Jack Kirby comics that can't be anything but comics. I don't care what film can do with CGI. Jack Kirby's Fourth World can only be a comic book. So I'm kind of like playing with that idea with my own character, Billy Dogma. And recently, my assistant, Michelle Fife, who also does a comic at Activate called Panorama, we decided to mash our comics together under one book, kind of like the old Marvel Comics Tales to Astonish. So we're mashing our ideas. So I'm putting Billy Dogma and Michelle Fife's Panorama under one title called Brawl, and we'll see if that experiment works. The experiment really is that we did it as a webcomic first for free that you can still access online for free. Meanwhile, we're now seeing how it sells in print in comic book shops. Anyhow, I think what separates Activate from other webcomics or other webcomic group hubs is that a lot of us were veterans in the print comics form. And we're just taking a lot of our ideas that either weren't sold or a franchise company might not even consider, and we're taking more control and just writing and drawing our own ideas on a weekly basis, creating these original graphic novels 1 week at a time until the story's finished. Meanwhile, we're also creating a fan base, loyalty. We're getting immediate responses to our work, and that's been a lot of fun and really cool.